Welcome to Terra to Tell a Living, and I have Heidi Dennis, and she's going to talk about her eco-conscious life.
Yay. Yes, that's me. So I guess to start with, I live in the city. Okay. So there's a lot of crap that's always happening around you. And you have, recycle bins and all this good jazz and that shows up. Um, so I do my best to go by what they say. And everything literally is recyclable except for plastic film.
Okay.
That is not recyclable. They don't want that in the recycle bin. That's just trash. And that is the only trash that goes in my trash can.
So, when you talk about plastic film, are you talking about bags or like film that is like when something is packaged and it's
Both.
surrounded by that?
Both. You can save all that stuff and you can take it to the recycling center yourself, but that means you gotta have storage space and bags of film to keep aside. You can recycle it, but for curbside service, mm-mm.
And
So
where is
anything that's wrapped around, bottled water, it's always wrapped in that plastic film, not recyclable. Plastic bags, not recyclable in the recyclable cans, I should say. So you can. I don't have the time or capacity or the want to save all that stuff up in an abundance and then take it to recycle in one big trip.
Mhm.
So I don't. So it's my trash. That's all I put in my trash.
Gotcha. And where
Uh,
is it that you live again?
I live in Kaiser, Oregon.
Okay.
Um, so which is it's better than what it used to be by a long shot, but everything like tea bags, food waste, all of that can go into the garden bucket now, as long as in a sealed bag. So that way it keeps it separate from the actual garden stuff. And that way they can put it in their own composting sections at the recycle center. I'm like, perfect. So I use the clear fruit bags that you can get at the store when you're buying your fruit and you shove them in the clear bags. I use those and I tie them up in a knot. So then I'm like, here you go. You can reuse it, which is what I'm doing. Now you're going to end up recycling it for the fact that you're going to have to open it up anyway and dump it, whether you used a Ziploc bag or, anything like that. So once I'm out of the clear bags, I go to my composting bags that I've bought. So that
Gotcha.
way they don't have to worry about it. So I'm just trying to reduce everything down, reuse it in some way or form, because if you can recycle the film like they can, then you're gonna do it for me with the garden bucket. Because I'm not going on my way. Sorry. Not yet. That'll change one day. I have a feeling, because they'll get tired of all the plastic in the trash. Because that's what they're working on. I'm like, okay, well, you gotta be able to keep it separate or something. Other than that, I reuse a lot of things like old fence boards, old items, toilets for planters, like grandma did. uh, it's fun. I just, I like that look though. I like that very different, non-contemporary look. So yeah, and I'm teaching my daughter the same thing, and it's kind of cool. She made I keep staring over there because that's what I keep looking at. Is she made my Diva DVD shelf out of old fence boards. Her first project ever.
Cool. That's so cool.
And the shelves aren't straight. They're like whoop, whoop, so it's short on one end, bigger on the other. And I'm like, but that's what I like about it, honestly, is because it isn't perfect.
Yeah.
Because life isn't perfect. And everything that's perfect looking, to me, just it lacks the love and it lacks the character, like it's actually a thing of its own.
Yeah.
So I I like it. And so I've been working on creating a lot of that stuff here in my house as I'm looking around and going, yep, I made that. Um because there's so much out there. There's so many materials that are still reusable. You just got to think about it in a different way. Um, and that's kind of where I'm starting at right now. And it's why I want to keep growing, and I want my time back. So
Mhm.
that way I have the time to go work on these projects, because I also want to sell them. I don't want to make them for myself and just hold on to them forever or give away because she doesn't want to sell it. I want to sell it. I want, because it's easy. A lot of it's easy. It doesn't take much to do. And that way it gets reused. Materials aren't just continuously getting thrown away. And yet it may cater to a specific kind of person, you know, that has the kind of same mentality as the old school look, the farmhouse. I call it the farmhouse look. That's fine with me. But yet there's also more things in my head that would cater to the uniqueness of like antique style. Okay. Which is like a lot of people, not just contemporary or farmhouse or whatever. So that's kind of where I'm headed with all of that. But I need my time back,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm working on. Because yeah, when my house is to the point where I want it to be, and
Yeah.
same with the tiny house. It has to have that look for me. It just
Yeah.
has to.
Yeah.
And I am working on doing a garden next year. I'm putting a greenhouse up, or a aquaponics
Yeah.
greenhouse style, because we have a lot of rain here. Make more sense. So that way I can reuse the rain in that aspect. It just doesn't overflow everywhere here. Because I live basically 2 blocks up from the river. So my ground is saturated all the time,
Okay.
even during the summer. I don't have to water, but every third day, and my grass stays green. So, perfect. So I want to do a greenhouse. I want to start doing the gardening thing. I want to learn more about that, to progress more, to create my own dynamic of, giving back, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
Okay. And contribute. That's a word I'm trying to use more often in my head, because, well, I don't feel like I'm ever doing that, but yet I am. Um, so yeah, right now, I guess it's kind of at the beginning of it all, where I really want to make a difference and make these changes.
Yeah. What kind of benefits have you seen in the things that you've already done?
Well, my trash bill, they don't charge me if there's no trash out there.
Okay, yeah.
And so once a month, I put my cans out.
So, I live in a different state than you, and where I live, we don't have composting for part of our trash and recycle. So I also don't. I take all my trash and recycle to the facility that has that. So that, especially that composting thing is new for me. Um, and I feel like that's available on the West Coast of the United States, but
Mm-hmm.
not available on the East Coast of the United States.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, but I knew about it and being on the West Coast. And,
Right.
um, so I find, so what, I guess my question is, um, you have trash that you pay for, and then you have
Mm-hmm.
recycle, and compost is part of the recycle, and the
Mm-hmm.
recycle is free.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
The only thing I pay for is the smallest trash can that they have possible, which then they put an actual liner inside that and top it off at half full. So I have
That's
like the tiniest can possible.
okay.
And if I don't have it out there, I don't get charged. I'm like, okie dokie. I'm all right with that. So I've saved money, that way. I have saved the environment that way. I also don't have to worry about, overflowing cans all the time, or a bigger can, because you're just shoving it all into one. I, do things and put in the recycle that shouldn't go, and I know they shouldn't go, but yet on the same hand, it's a form of plastic film that they don't like, and I'm like, you're taking it anyway. Because I know you can recycle it, you're just not wanting to deal with it here on the curbside, which seems ridiculous. But maybe I will turn into that as I'll be an advocate for that, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make sense. If we can take it to the recycling center, then why can't we actually put it in the recycle can?
Right. So, and everything is commingled in your recycling.
There's 3 cans. There's a trash can, there's a yard debris / compost can, and then there's the recycling can, which is your cardboard, your bigger plastic, hard plastic chunks. Can't supposed to not be any less than 3 inches in size. You get all of it. If it's hard plastic, it's going in it. I don't care. You guys will figure out how to compensate for that stuff. So that's the three different cans. And my trash doesn't ever go out but once a month, and it's just plastic film. And my yard bucket really doesn't go out except for during the summer, because I ain't getting outside in the rain and doing any yard work. And then my recycle can, it just, when it fills up, and they pick it up every so the yard and the recycle are picked up every 2 weeks. No, sorry, recycling is every 2 weeks. Yard, compost, and trash are every week.
Okay.
So when it fills, I shove them out there.
Okay.
So I really don't have any kind of trash. My footprint is pretty darn small, because whatever, like paper towels, if there's food on them, I can throw the paper towels into the compost bag, which then goes into the yard bucket. Same with pizza boxes. They can go into the compost yard trash can. So I can recycle everything in some aspect.
That's pretty cool. We can't recycle pizza boxes where I live.
That's a bummer.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool because I see differences, and I've talked to people in California too that are like basically what you're talking about, and everything is being recycled in some kind of way. But the East Coast doesn't really have that very much. They have a lot of catching up to do.
Well, the West Coast is the hippy dippy, nerditis nature people. I may not be hippy dippy, but I am a nature nerd. I don't mess up my nature, man. And I collect all bottles, I keep them. I see them, I'm like, yoink, that's my 10 cents.
So that's another thing I want to talk about. That's awesome that you bring that up. Oregon has a bottle deposit. So if it's like a soda bottle or whatever, as long as it has that writing on top, you can turn it in for 10 cents each bottle, correct?
Correct. So water bottles, Gatorade, soda cans. I already put it away. Even Frappuccino bottles, 10 cents. Yeah. So it all goes. I collect it all up, and even my coworkers, they're gross, they're nasty. They leave their junk and stuff in the vans, and I'm like, ooh, can yoink. I take it home with me. I know, pretty sad. Like I said, it may not be hippy dippy, but I'm a nature nerd, and I'm gonna utilize that, because that's 10 cents a pop, man. You get 10 of those, you got $1. It's just like, dang. And yeah, and we have what's called Bottle Drop here. It's actually a company. It's called Bottle Drop. It's like going to Safeway back in the day, and you shove your cans in there and one at a time, blah, blah, blah. Well, you can do that one at a time here if you want to, or you can purchase the green bags, and they have a sticker on it that you place on because you bought the sticker, which is therefore you get the bags to go along with it. So at $20 you can get what was it, 10 green bags, therefore you get 10 green stickers for a certain amount. And so you get those, you put the sticker on, you fill it up, and you can go drop it off at the place and they count it. They give you whatever. And I'm like, okay. So then they put it into your account. So the money then goes and sits in your account. So it's like a little mini savings account.
Okay.
It can keep growing and growing and growing and growing to however much you want to keep in there. You can only pull out $99 a day. Okay, that's it. If you want to remove money. So it's a benefit to just to collect all that stuff, shove it in there, put it away, don't even think about it again. Because it has saved my butt with gas back in the day when I was like not making money. So many different times. I'm like, where am I gonna get $30 for a gas tank that I gotta get to 3 days when I get paid again? I'm like, oh crap. And then that's when I'm like, oh right. So it's like a win-win. We can save the environment, they recycle it for us, we make some money off of it, and it also gives someone else a job,
I love that. That's so cool. Yeah, because Maryland, the state I'm living in, doesn't have any bottle deposit at all. Yeah, I don't know about all of the states. So when I lived in Massachusetts, they had a bottle deposit, and that was cool. But I don't know about all the other states, so
Right.
that's something that people would have to look up on their own. Um, so are there more benefits that you've seen?
Let me think. I had some others. I was thinking about it just now and I lost it. Other benefits, yes. There are, because like even my own with the whole composting thing like that, I don't have to. So like next year I'll start a composting pile of my own to, fertilize my garden and all that good jazz, because it takes time. And if you have too much, then where does it go? Because it's not like I have a giant backyard and I don't want a giant, humongous mound of compost taken over. So, which is nice because you can put it in the bucket. It's just kind of like one less worry to have to worry about, It's not like I'm gonna have a smelly, stinky kitchen because it's in the trash, which is an open bag, it's always tied up. So, but I want a little can. I want a little composting can so it's cute. Because right now it's just sitting on my counter and it's kind of gross. And I'm like, ew. Yeah, I know. I'm a little weird like that. But other than that, yeah, because it's one thing like mowing my lawn and all that good jazz. Because there's certain things you can't really put in your own composting pile for a garden. It actually harms it, doesn't benefit it. And like lawn mowing clippings are good. Not always are all food items good. So it's kind of great to be able to separate that in that aspect. Because I have an abundance of yard clippings. Sometimes I run over my own trash can. I'm like, okay, well, I guess we'll put it over here and keep it for next week.
What are some challenges that you've seen or that you have had trouble with becoming more eco-conscious?
Getting my kids to understand, don't put that in the trash. No, because dad doesn't give two rats. He puts everything in the trash a lot. And I'm just like, no. And just getting them to see that, I'm like, this is your world you're living in. It's not a big giant dumping ground, okay? You don't want it to be that way, because we're hurting everything. The ozone layer is, thin and has a hole in it. It's been there for a long time now already. And if we don't help it, it will get worse, because it could potentially correct itself if we correct other things. Just like nature generally does correct itself when we leave it be. So kind of like getting them on board. Other than that, because it's just mostly me at the house most of the time, so it's fairly easy. Yeah, that's kind of the biggest part for me, is just them. I'm like, no. They're like, dude, mom, get over it. I'm like, this is your world that you're coming into. You want it to be your trash bin? Just go to your own bedroom then and live in your own bedroom, which is a trash bin. Don't live in mine. Um, other than that, I don't know. It seems it's gotten simpler for us up here.
Yeah.
A lot simpler. As you're seeing, we have the opportunities with a system. I past that, I really don't know. The only other thing is having storage capability for like the reusable items that are in my head, and like, fence boards and things like that.
Mhm.
You kind of need space for that. That's where I have a little bit of hard time with.
Mhm.
But other than that, I don't know. I tend to pick it up as I need it at this
Mhm.
point in time, and use it.
And with the reusable items that you're talking about like making decorative items or furniture
Mhm.
kind of like items.
Yep. Like, because I also want to like do hummingbird feeders. I want to create my own. I want to make wind chimes and stuff like that with all sorts of different things. And having that storage capability is a little more difficult,
Mhm.
because I don't want to like keep loading up my shop,
Mhm.
because then I won't have any space to actually work. But then I also don't want to load up everything in my garage, because then I look like everyone else's trash bin garage, kind of thing. You're like, don't open the door.
Yeah.
And then the kids' bikes and all that, their space goes away. So that's why I tend to pick it up as I go. But those ideas are up there, and if I don't have the items, though close hand even, then I can't create with it. It's just like a no win right now, and it's driving me crazy. But I'm working on it. I'm gonna get there. That's my goal. That's literally what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And because I have to have storage for all of that stuff, and the machines that I'm going to be using with some of it.
Yeah.
I gotta have, like, I have a drill press that I haven't set up yet, so that it's easier to drill holes instead of a hand hole, and it's all crooked. Like, damn it! Can't have that spot crooked, of all things.
Yeah.
Um. So yeah, I gotta acquire certain items still. And then again, that takes up space.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
uh, but reusing is kind of my goal,
Yeah.
because I want to actually take the doors off of my kitchen cabinets and replace them with uh old fence boards.
Oh, cool.
I do. I think it'd be cool. It totally fit the whole farmhouse thing, and
Yeah.
then paint because my cabinets are that nasty MDF kind of crap that can't get wet.
Yeah.
And then they got stickered on. They got the cheap sticker overlay. And so in places it's peeling. And I'm like, well, for now I can just paint them like that old fence board kind of coloring so it matches, until I get the money to officially put in good cabinets minus the doors, because I'm
Yeah.
putting those pallet doors back on. Those fence boards. And I use pallets, old pallets,
Yeah.
for a lot of things.
Okay.
So yeah, I reuse a lot of things,
I love it. I love it. It's pretty cool.
So that's, I'm like, I can do the decorative side of things a lot easier and more. I can benefit on the community that way.
Yeah. I love it. Have you so have you developed any processes or products that, like, I guess that what you're talking about is for sure that too.
Yeah, I'm working on it. It just hasn't really gone full out yet, because I also, for one, don't have enough products created
Mhm.
to create that broadband, even to post, like, even on, like, marketplace, or create my own Facebook page to say, hey, come check these out, blah blah blah. So I don't have enough of the product yet created. I'm almost finished with one screen door though.
Yeah.
All I needed to go is Home Depot and get the screen, so
Yeah.
that way I can put it on there. And then I want to put a strip of wood over where it's going to be stapled down, so it doesn't look so ugly.
Mhm.
And then I have the little latchy thingy because it's just gonna be a little hook latch. So when you're like leaving, you can lock it that way. I don't need a stupid push button open swing. Nah. Just
Yeah.
keep it simple, stupid, Kiss, my motto, kiss. And then put just a small handle on it. That way you can open it and that's it. And it'll be done. The screen door is done. And I got one more to make because my screen doors were the heavy storm doors.
Mhm.
So they're like metal glass, heavy as heck. And before I bought the house, they got destroyed. Like some kids or person or whatever, like smashed into them and completely shifted them and broke them. And I couldn't use them anyway. One was permanently stuck open and the other one was permanently shut closed. So I was like, this is stupid. Get rid of this shit. It's crap. I'm gonna make my own. Out of what? Sports. So I got one more to make and one to finish. And then I can take pictures of all that stuff and, be able to share it later. And I'm like, hey, look what I can do. Because I'm not going to store a bunch of that crap on hand.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm going to have this mass production of things. It'll be, one-off things. You order it, I make it, I ship it.
Yeah.
Or you pay for the shipping. I don't know. We'll figure out that.
Yeah. Someday. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of what my goal is to have many, many, many different types of a product, not just like one style, but like all over the place.
That's cool. I like it. Yeah, this is super cool. I love it. And is there something else that you can think of that you do that is eco-conscious in your life?
I only water my yard like every 3 days, kind of factor. I don't need it super, super, super green like some people. So they're like watering every day, like hour long. And I'm like, save the water. You don't need to, okay? You really don't. You don't need it super, super green. It can still be green, soft on your feet to walk on if you just do it like every 3 days. So I do that. I do leave a lot of things out in my yard for the animals. I don't pick up a lot. I mean, I pick up the leaves because it becomes a mud hole if you don't. And I see my critters constantly. I did not know squirrels, they bury their nuts and then they come back and get them
Mhm.
later. I watched one berry over here under my bush the other day. I was like, that's why I have walnut trees growing in my yard. How rude. And then because they forget or they don't need it. I don't know. And then he came back like a week or so later and he unburied it. And he like cracked it open and he's like, there it is. And he took off. And I was like, oh, I didn't know they did that. It was
That's cool.
amazing. They say dogs do that. I'm like, I've never seen actually a dog ever truly bury their bone and then go back and get it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think they're liars, but squirrels do. So I promote the fact of not taking out all the bushes and stuff like that, in my yard. My front, especially my backyard. We won't talk about that one. That's a disaster back there. Because it's more than I can handle by myself is the deal.
Mhm.
I can't actually keep up on it.
Yeah.
It's too much. So that's why I concentrate on my front yard and I promote the animals, the critters and all that good jazz and plant things that attract animals more.
Yeah.
Like vibrant flowers brings in the butterflies, brings in the birdies and things like that. And so I plant those kinds of flowers and to help with nature, grow it back. Bee sources and stuff like that. So yeah, that's another benefit that I do. What else? It's just kind of like become normal for me, so it's kind of hard to think.
Yeah. You
Um,
mentioned that you mentioned a tiny house. So what is your intention around that?
so I actually want to get into a tiny house and within the next honestly 10 years. Okay, I'm gonna be realistic about it. In 4, I don't know. I may not be able to make that mark because my kids both graduate then. Well, kind of want to see what my daughter is doing at that moment, because she's my one that's gonna need a lot of more guidance and focus, like this one. So within, I'm gonna say within 10 years, because I want a small space for me to live in, kind of factor. But what I would like to be able to do though, is like build on beyond that around me. Does that make sense? Like having a bigger dining room area, so that way the whole family can come in on holidays, or your friends can come in and have a giant gathering kind of factor. So it'd be like a big dining room that's caters to indoor and outdoor kind of thing, so you can see nature. So it
Yeah.
might be all glass possibly,
Yeah.
but it'd be cool, be heated, so you could be in there during the winter if you have cold winters. And then like have another tiny house, kind of like guest room kind of thing, so if people come and stay or drink too much, they got a place to go. So I want my little space, but I want to be able to cater to the big family that I want to have around. I want them to be around more often, and having that ability to be able to stay and enjoy their time there, it's important to me. So I kind of want that ability,
Yeah. I love it. I love
you
it.
know?
It's so cool.
So that way, I don't have to clean a crap ton. I only have to clean maybe the tidy house one day where I got visitors coming. I'm like, ooh, time to dust. Doot, 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 done. Yes. Y'all can show up now. But that's what I want. Because I've been thinking about a lot more lately. I'm like, I don't want to. This is not even a big house. This is only a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath, and this is a small single family home, is what's classified. Still too much for me.
Yeah.
I'm having to trade off something all the time. Either I'm trading cleaning the house by, not doing anything fun or yard work. It's always constantly one thing or another, because it's time consuming. All of it. It's really, and I don't want that anymore. I want my life simplified.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
love
that's
it.
where the tiny house, being eco-conscious and all that good jazz comes into place, is because it is simplifying your life,
Right.
and it's not toxifying.
Right. Right. I love it. Thank you so much. This is so cool. And I appreciate you taking the time to interview with me. And
Mhm.
your ideas are so cool and fun. And oh, I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Heck, one day we'll be in a spot together.
Yeah. Oh, and just in case anybody didn't know, this is my sister. She lives in Oregon and I live in Maryland. So
I would love to one day be closer, physically, so that way we can just pop on over and be like, I'm coming over. Okay.
yeah, yeah, that would be fun. Yeah.
You
We'll
know,
see what happens and what the future holds.
right? Because it's ours. It's
Yeah.
ours to make it the way we want to make it.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.